Bridget wrote in and said, do either of you guys gamble? Is gambling objectively bad? Lewis, do you gamble?
I don't gamble. I guess I used to occasionally. I never really enjoyed it. If I'm going to play poker with some friends now, I really don't want to buy in for more than $10. And I wouldn't say that gambling is objectively bad. I would say that if losing money is going to have zero impact on your life and the life of your family, then I guess I don't see anything wrong with it. But it all depends on your individual situation.
So I'll answer the first part first. I don't really gamble anymore. I used to play poker games for anywhere from like a $5 to $20 buy-in. Once at a casino, I think you were there, Lewis, somewhere near San Diego, California. We went to a casino like an hour inland or something. I sat at a poker table. I think I brought in like $60 or something like that. And I think once I also played at Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut. I used to enjoy playing poker, but then I don't know, it started to not really feel that great to play. And even though the money itself, you could think about it like, listen, if you go to a movie for 2 hours, you're going to spend X amount of money. Think about the amount of time you spend gambling as it's if you come out with nothing, you paid that money for entertainment. And if you end up taking some money back out, great. But it doesn't ultimately end up feeling the same way. I don't think that gambling is objectively bad. I know many people who gamble once or twice a year when they go to Vegas or somewhere similar. There are kind of two issues. One is gambling can be bad. If you can't afford to lose the money, then gambling is bad. In the same way that if you can't afford to spend the money on regularly going on a vacation and yet you're charging vacations, that's also bad. The difference is gambling has this certain rush that can be there for people who have a tendency to become addicted to these types of behaviors. And that's when it can get really bad. So I don't think gambling is objectively bad. Obviously, if there were no gambling at all, if you could in a kind of utopia enforce that there's no gambling, no backroom card games or anything, you would prevent people from being from being problem gamblers. That's not really practical. But we should still take strides to make sure that we reduce the number of people that are in those situations.
Agreed. Do you think this country would be a better place without casinos?
Maybe so. I mean, we've talked about, the argument from casinos is they create many, many jobs. And the counter argument is that there's a social cost in terms of the money, productivity, gateway to other types of addiction. If you consider, there's many arguments for and against casinos, but you could argue that casinos as an institution, separate from from gaming and gambling, are not a positive influence net on the United States. I've not taken a firm position on that because I don't know net what the reality is, but I think that that's an interesting case to make. I know when I was in Vegas in October, and I think I'm going to be back for a conference in April, what I would see in the casinos was truly sad. You would see people clearly addicted, degenerate gambler types sitting there, and all demographics, all genders, ages, race, whatever, sitting there in this kind of semi-catatonic state, either playing craps, often slot machines or blackjack. And we would hear from dealers, these are people who we know they have a problem, but we can't kick them out necessarily just because we think they have a problem.
Yeah, if I don't have all the numbers and all the details, but if I had to lean to one side, I would say that casinos are probably harming the country more than they're helping.
Send us your thoughts on this. Is gambling objectively bad? And address the casino part if you want, or in the net accounting. Are casinos bad for the United States, or do they bring economic or social benefit if we think about all of the externalities involved? That is it for this week's questions. Send in your questions. This doesn't have to be the end of the show. There is the bonus show, davidpakman.com/membership to sign up.